Disgraceful records. We're back, baby. My favorite series, your favorite series. And today we have a special video with some of the best records I've come across yet. So stick around, it's a banger. It's working, guys. The corn pop conditioning is slowly but surely working. And if you haven't watched the rest of the series, I've made several videos on this topic. Go check it out down below. Because if I see those comments that are like, you know, Rob, you are so dumb. You forgot this record. And you forgot this record. I'm gonna go ape. No, but for real, I will link a playlist down below, so go check it out if you haven't seen the previous videos. And it's holiday season, everybody. Happy holiday to all of you folk out there. Your support, everything has been truly life-changing, guys. And I'm very appreciative every single day. You allow me to make hockey videos, and it is honestly a dream. So if you would, like this video and press subscribe for your weekly dose of hockey content. One of the biggest reasons that makes hockey so unique, uncomparable to other professional sports, is physicality. Because when it comes down to it, hockey is a mixed match, a mutated version of 10 different sports put together. You score goals like the typical game, like soccer, but it's played on ice where you wrestle and pound each other's faces in, regardless of how you want to define it. Final product is an incredible display of strength and hockey IQ. And with all the physicality, it can lead to some of the most entertaining scrums in all of professional sports. You know what? I take it back. The most entertaining scrums. Like, you tell me another sport right now, I dare you, where you can just randomly pin another player down, pinning each other's face on the ice, giving each other face washes. Very vicious acts when you think about it. However, there's definitely no suspension and probably no penalty. While at the same time, you hug each other in pure joy when you win gold as brothers. It's amazing. However, this physicality also tends to lead to a darker side of the game. When you are pressed up with a random opponent who is in your face, the intensity, the frustration can get so high, and I'm not even kidding, that it has led to NHL players biting each other. Because in 2009, this is exactly what would happen. Because after a scrum would ensue, Jarkko Ruutu would take a big ol' bite out of Peter's hand. And he wouldn't even get a penalty. However, the NHL after this childish incident would have to give out the first suspension in NHL history for biting, setting a record for the biggest punishment because you bit another grown man. And in November 2018, it would happen again, as Antoine Roussel would appear to bite Marc-Edouard Vlasic. However, it was hard to tell and there was little evidence. $5,000 fine. And finally, in a game this past season, after Tkachuk was doing, you know, Tkachuk things, bullying an entire Kings team, a scrum would ensue in the final minutes of the third period. A shoving match would break out after a whistle, and it would happen. But unlike previous cases, this time, Brady Tkachuk was involved. Because after getting bitten, we would get this absolutely hilarious shot of Brady Tkachuk in just pure disbelief, holding his bitten hand like crime scene evidence. My man's entire world was flipped upside down after this bite. And we'd also get these hilarious moments of them arguing in the penalty box. And after the game, Tkachuk in a press conference would give us some all-time quotes, stating, "This is the first time I'm gonna answer this," Tkachuk said on the Ottawa Sun. "It was the most gutless thing someone could ever do. This guy, and you can ask any one of his teammates, nobody ever wants to play with him. This guy is a bad guy and a bad teammate, and he focuses on himself all the time." And it doesn't stop there. It keeps getting savage. This guy is just a joke. He shouldn't be in the league. This guy's gutless. No other team wants him. He wants to keep begging to be in the NHL, but no other team wants him. He is an absolute joke. I can't even wrap my head around it. People don't even do this. He's just a bad guy. And it keeps going, and this is probably my favorite part of the quote. It's outrageous. Kids don't even do that anymore. Babies do that. I don't even know what he was thinking. He's just a complete brickhead. He's got nothing up there. Bad guy, bad player. What a joke he is. Like, my God. Brady Tkachuk did not hold back. In fact, he buried this man. He redug up his body and then buried him again and then repeat this process 10 times over. It was extremely savage. And what's even more crazy is that Brendan Lemuix would be suspended for 5 games for biting, which means Lemuix now holds the world record for the biggest punishment, the most games suspended for biting another grown adult. Lemuix, babies do this, babies. And what might even be more incredible about this entire story is the fact that both their dads, who just so happen to be NHL legends, GOATs, also had a rivalry from back in the day, and even got into a couple fights. This could not be more perfect. The next generation of kids carrying on the Rat legacy. One of the most important, fundamental parts of the game of hockey is face-offs.
Face-offs are a very important part of the game, and all three.
Because if your team dominates the dot, it directly leads to more puck possession, and of course an easier time setting up plays. Which makes players like Patrice Bergeron, Ryan O'Reilly, let us not forget about Pavel Datsyuk, extra proficient when it comes to dominating the defensive side of the game. So, to sum it up, face-off wins can be the difference between winning and losing a game. It's that important, especially at the professional level, and I kid you not. Matt Duchene holds the NHL record for the single season leader of the highest face-off percentage with at least 1,000 face-offs taken. Like what? Excuse me? This guy, this man? I don't know if it's me personally, but it's funny to put Duchene right up beside players like Patrice Bergeron, Pavel Datsyuk. They're just not in the same stratosphere in my mind at least. And what makes the story even more absurd is the fact that my man broke this record in the 2017 NHL season. So, the same season where Colorado had a horrendously bad 22-56-4 record, which is also the 4th worst NHL record in the modern era. And arguably the biggest disaster of a season when you consider the talent they had on their team. It was also the time Duchene's worst season in his entire career, and also the season where people started thinking Nathan MacKinnon, the Mac Dog, was a bust. Duchene set an impossibly hard NHL record in the biggest disaster season in Colorado Avalanche history, not to mention the biggest disgrace season of his personal career, and this is a stat I honestly can't wrap my head around. But somehow, this stat doesn't even come close to the embarrassment Tyson Barrie would endure in 2020. But after a whirlwind of events, being involved in a trade that sent Kadri to the Avs. On a side note, what are you doing, Dubas? Everyone mutually agreed that Kadri had one of the best, if not the best contract in the NHL. A player that is so important when you are signing multiple $10+ million contracts. Not to mention he has more points than Tavares and Matthews and is making less than half the money. Now, he doesn't really show up in playoffs, literally. But Dubas, what are you doing? Okay, that's enough Leafs memes today. But after landing in Edmonton and signing a 1-year deal, Barrie was back on track. But this time, he also played with the best player in the world, which was, of course, Connor McJesus. And he was back, so much so. Tyson Barrie would lead the NHL in defensive scoring for the first time in his career. Great. You did it, kid. You did it. But, and I'm not joking, Tyson Barrie would also be the first defenseman in NHL history to lead all defensemen in scoring, while at the same time, Tyson Barrie did not receive a single Norris vote. Not one. And I'm not saying he's the first defenseman who led the league in scoring and placed outside the top 5 or top 10. Tyson Barrie did not place at all. He's completely absent from all Norris voting. And keep in mind, some voters can be like, yeah, Barrie did lead the league in scoring, but I do think Fox was better, so I will give him a 5th place vote. Tyson Barrie didn't even receive like a 3rd, 5th place vote. He received nothing, which if anything, goes to show how legendary Connor McDavid is, as he can single-handedly help carry a defenseman to leading the league in scoring. And everyone knows, yeah bro, you just played with McDavid. What do you want? PK Subban. And honestly guys, I feel like I kind of have to say this because he's always in the news and headlines, so it's hard not to talk about him, but I love PK Subban. I agree he does a lot of stupid things, but he's also a highly entertaining and just a solid player. But what I absolutely hate is slew footing. It's extremely dangerous, dirty, and it just takes away from the game. In this season, PK Subban decided, I'm gonna set a record, the slew footing record, because within 1 month, PK Subban, even after receiving an onslaught of media attention after the first incident against Ryan Reeves, would set an NHL record, as PK Subban would be caught slew-footing 4 times in a single month. Blatant or borderline slew-foots. Absurd. Most players, even the dirty ones, don't slew-foot people ever, as it is an extremely savage, dirty, and just reckless move. $15,000 to this dude is 20 to us normal, non-billionaire people. And what adds an even bigger layer of absurdity is the fact that Brad Marchand would receive a suspension for his first slew-footing incident of the season. So, hopefully after setting this just disgraceful record, PK Subban will stop, hopefully, as slew-footing is just a dangerous play. that should be taken out of hockey completely.